What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Bear Show. I'm Ivan Vargas. Happy Easter out there to everyone. I hope you're enjoying the day with your families and, enjoying food, everything, having a just pleasant day. So, welcome back. This is a mock 2 for me. We're going to burn through this because I kind of want to go back and get some more food. But yeah, we'll get through this one together and we'll have a little fun on Easter Sunday. Before we get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Tape Never Lies Network. Become a patron today if you have not already. This is not popping up for me, and it's annoying real quick. Hold on 1 second. All right, there it is. Yeah, this is for me going to be more of a position focus. Like last time, it was just, me and the boys shooting the shit, having some fun, and going with our gut instead of more of along the lines of what the Bears' focus might be. I'm gonna probably do one trade, and then the other I'm gonna try to stick with it straight through. We'll hold it to 2 drafts right now. If I could fit another one in, I will do so. So let's go ahead and bring this up. New mock draft. There we go. All right, yeah, I'll change nothing here. Nothing will change for me. 7 rounds, turbo, because I don't want to sit through every single one. And here we are. So we only got 1 trade offer, so this will be the non-trade draft, in my opinion. So, let me turn that off. So we have Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, Avion Terrell, Cassius Howell, Caden Proctor, Caden McDonald, TJ Parker, Denzel Boston, wide receiver from Washington, Caleb Bank. We pretty much have the pick of the litter for what we're looking for as far as position-wise and what we need for the Jeez, this is annoying. For the Chicago Bears, but again, I think the focus would be here, like edge, tackle, defensive interior. I really like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, but I don't feel as if I don't feel like taking the safety right there is the smartest thing, knowing that you don't have a left tackle at this point. And understanding that you don't really have a pass rush and you need a pass rush, in particular an edge. So for me, Caden Proctor's there. You're pulling the trigger. If anybody else has I have not seen Caleb Lomu yet, so I can't make a real assumption on here. I don't want to make any assumptions, but you have guys here that, that can really pop for you. You even got, a linebacker if you want to take him after this pick if he's still there, and Jacob Rodriguez. But with for me, I love Cassius Howell. I really love Cassius Howell, but staying true to what I was, what the idea is here on this draft. I can only take Caden Proctor right here. Caleb Williams is the most important player on this football team, hands down. And I understand that they have this, appreciation for Braxton Jones's game. And, they say Braxton Jones is beefing up. And he's looking forward to trying to get things on track. And say that's fine. Maybe he does. Maybe being out and being hurt and not being able to participate in last year's wonderful season that they had, it probably, I would understand it bothering a player. I would understand you wanting to get up there, wanting to support your team right away, wanting to be better. And if that's motivating to him, awesome. I want to see it. But again, I can't just trust that. you're turned a corner in one off season after you've gotten injured because you found some type of motivation because you didn't get to participate. Like I can't trust that fully. So with knowing that and knowing that there's really not a choice without looking outside of the draft or and the organization to put out there. Like I'm not putting Amagache out there. You know what I mean? I'm just not. I'm sorry. I'll give him another. You might give him another chance, right? He's going to have opportunity this training camp to beat a guy like Braxton Jones out. But to be quite honest with you, I don't think he can beat Braxton Jones out unless he finds some type of newfound edge himself. And I understand he has talent. I understand he has, you know, intangibles. He has size and strength, like his length and stuff. But I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see that being the reason you don't take Caden Proctor right here. And that's what we're going to do. So Caden Proctor off the board. We're going to go with nope, just one trade off. I don't want to. Yeah, we're going to stick with the no trade. Just no trade. We'll stay here. So you got Malachi Lawrence, Jadarian Price. I would fucking love to take Jadarian Price right here. But I just don't see that being smart. I don't see that being the best choice at this point, right? And Malachi Lawrence has some talent. I'm not gonna lie, he does. For me, I don't see. I don't see why. I don't see why you would take a guy that is, for me, he might need a year or two. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. But I feel like he might need a year or two to really take off. You know what? I'm getting blown up right now. Excuse me, real quick, guys. Let me go ahead. Let me just answer this. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I gotta go open the gate. 1 second. Sorry. All right. Sorry about that. Jeez. I did not know that you don't have a key for this. Anyway, back to the draft. Let me pick it up. Like I said, 57 looking at Malachi Lawrence, I was just mentioning him. I don't really a wide receiver you could probably take, maybe there's a guy like Skylar Bell, whatever they feel, but I feel like you go right to edge. And the two edges that I like here at this spot are Derek Moore and Danny Dennis Sutton. So, looking at Sutton, 6'5, 265, big dude, can still fill out physically, I feel like. I really think for him to gain maybe a little weight would actually benefit him strength-wise, but I don't feel like he'll lose any of his like agility or speed. He's in the mold of a Dennis Allen's, traits. So I do like Danny Davis Sutton a lot. I would say I'd kind of favor him here. But looking at a Derek Moore, he's around that same type of, mold. So he's not as big, like 6'3", so a couple inches shorter. He's a little heavier. I guess you could look at his past, comparables. I really do. I look at the production. So, he didn't have as many sacks, in 2003, 2004, but then he had a bunch. He had a boom right here with 11 in 2025. He's probably someone that I would, they're kind of mocking him most to the Bengals, but I feel like that's kind of what the Bengals are looking for. A guy like that. The Bears are looking for that kind of defensive end, similar to what the Bengals just had in a Hendrickson, right? And they're trying to replace a guy like Hendrickson with that type of defensive end mold. I like them both right here. If it's my choice, I'm taking Danny Dennis Sutton, but I feel like a guy like Dennis Allen would take a guy like Derek Moore. That's kind of where I'm going with it, and that's who we will take here. Derek Moore's a pick. And you still got a guy, look, you still got an opportunity to draft a guy like Malachi Lawrence, because they went and took a guy like Joshua Josephs. If Joshua Josephs was there, I might have just taken two defensive ends. And I still might, to be honest with you. At what point would I address safety? So for me, I would be shooting at safety about 80. I would say 89 would definitely be the spot. I would go ahead and look at safety. Or, if you get lucky enough and somebody falls, maybe you could take one at 129. Or if they trade down, with that 25 pick or any other time, maybe that's expanding the amount of draft picks and, increasing the opportunities that you have to select players in the draft might be the way to go. And then they'll address safety maybe even sooner than we thought. You know what I'm saying? So, you definitely have to address safety. And I do like a Grayson Halton. I do. But I don't feel like at this point you have to rush and be like, all right, I got to go find a safety right now. Like I said, you could take if this is the way it goes, right? And yeah, I know the fucking comp picks would change so much. It would change so much, right? It sucks that the NFL is not honoring the rule of, the letter of the law that they created. You know what I mean? It's ironic that that's not, what is being addressed. So it's like if you have a sit-in person, he's pretty much a stand-in as far as like, he's just an image. Like he's going to be the face of the franchise that's kind of like in flux right now. You got a guy like Bijan Robinson, but Matt Ryan is just, I think he's there to bring some type of stability, which I understand. I mean, he was He's their all-time leading, everything at quarterback pretty much. But to say that he's not so for him to say that he's not going to be operating as the, point man for, player personnel, like that's to me that's the smoking gun, but I guess not. I guess that's the loophole. So just if that's the case, then I mean, like does that happen every time? If you have a team president, above a GM, does that like I don't understand it. I'm very confused at how that played out, and it's it's frustrating. We should have another opportunity, two more opportunities, in this draft and the next to find some players to help us. And I don't understand why the NFL, just pretty much said nah, we ain't gonna do this. We ain't gonna do that right now. So let's get back to the draft. Dominique Orange, Grayson Halton, I think interior defensive linemen are the Daryl Jackson Jr. are the target at this point. Maybe even no, I wouldn't say. But probably, I mean, if they address center, it's gonna be later. Like they're not gonna take a Jake Slaughter. They're not gonna take a Sam Hack. I just don't see that happening. It is what it is. If they're there, yeah. I mean, obviously 89. I mean, maybe one of them, you know, gets there, but I still don't think you take them at that point. I still think you look at a safety at that point. Maybe even another looking at a cornerback if they fall in love with a guy there. At that point, those are the positions I would target. But right now, you got guys like a Danny Dennis Sutton, still got a Malachi Lawrence, Grayson Halton, Dominique Orange. I mean, I would go interior right here, right? You wanna add and like look at that, surprise, surprise, most drafted by the Bears. But I'm sure that's like I said, I'm sure, and a Dominique Orange as well. Let's see where he's drafted by the Bears too. So like I said, this is probably exactly where we want to draft somebody in the interior defensive line. And if I'm looking at it, I like that Holton has speed, but I feel like Orange, like I feel like Orange is more of a big anchor. Like you're gonna he's gonna eat up two. And like I said, his agility and speed, when you're looking at it, when you're looking at film when he's healthy, it's surprising, man. It can creep up on you. So for me, and he's really 6'4", 325. Uh, like I said, you could go ahead. I'll let you guys if you want to read that caption. But like I said, he's a guy that I think can cause some damage if he continues to grow, uh, um, get stronger. You're going to continue to hit the weights and get stronger as a player, and hopefully, definitely under this regime, you're going to be pushed. So for me, I think Dominic Orange, is the big citrus is the pick right here. Even though I like Grayson Halton, I do, but I just feel like that size is going to potentially be an issue. With maybe not necessarily with his play, but just with what Dennis Allen wants. You know what I mean? And if Dominique Orange can, generate some K, eat up a couple blocks, maybe even three. I've seen three people on him, in film, once or twice. But if he can really he could be a disruptive force in the middle. So like, I'll take the big citrus right here at 60. I do like Caleb Turnin. I do like Skylar Bell, Malachi Lawrence. Like I said, Malachi Lawrence is going to be good. I just don't. I see I see it being like a year or two away, maybe about that. That's just me. Like I don't, you might have something different. Awesome, but for me, that's what I see. Yeah, and Holton is twitchy. Like I said, I like him. I like. I understand. Like if we're all looking for Tommy Harris, right? And that's the idea. I just, man, I see Dennis Allen. And like I said, this draft, I'm trying to focus more like on what what along the lines they would go for as far as uh, positional value, as far as best player available. That's kind of what I see. That's what I'm trying to shoot for in this one. Uh, yeah, that's fine. I get that, but you could find another guy that I feel like is better, or you could draft a guy that I feel like is more physical and a little more chaotic. I feel like Dennis Sutton is a guy that you would definitely shoot for if you want to go ahead and take a line edge there. And that's just me. Like maybe he wants a Malachi Lawrence. Like that's fine. But if I'm a betted man, which I am actually have a couple going, but Dennis Sutton, the traits and the play are there. And if you could get him going in Dennis Allen's defense and he continues to grow, I think he might be a guy that can help you right away. I do. At 60 though, like I said, we'll go ahead and pull this trigger on the big citrus. Uh, we need like it doesn't get any better than right at this point, for defensive interior. So if later on, you might have a guy that you think is a steal, but in this one we're not trading, so we're going to be pretty strict on where we fall here, obviously. So big citrus off the board, 60, and we're moving forward. Now, safety, like I said, this is where I would try to take a shot. Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick up these guys right here. I mean, I like a Cole Wazinski, you know what I'm saying? But looking at like I feel like you could take a couple of you could take a wide receiver, possibly you could take a running back, with one of these back three picks. Because I mean, unless you think this is the year for Roshan Johnson, you're gonna have to find a guy, and some people will say, oh, well, you can find a guy in undrafted. Yeah, that's fine, but there's a couple guys here at the back end that I feel like will help the Chicago Bears at running back, 100%. So, I like a guy like a Zeke Wheatley, 6'2", 202. The thing is that it's like, where do you think, and what it just keeps, yeah, exactly. Where do you think, it's just about where he's going to play. Like, I feel like maybe they're going to be interchangeable. Maybe they're both because you got a guy in Kobe that could do it all. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you could definitely utilize both of them in different roles. But I like the fact, 6'2", 220, longer. Looking at his stats, his tackles, 70. I mean, he had 73 tackles in 24. He cut the missed tackles down by 9 in 2025, which is good to see, right? Good to see. You're cleaning up the game. Don't like a lot of missed tackles, especially at the safety position. Let's see, played a lot in the slot in 24, less in 25. Played, like I said, he played multiple. Like he played a lot, in the box and outside. So I feel like that's he's a guy that looking at if you want for me, I would say I want players that can play multiple spots, that know multiple spots, that have been in you know different positions. So if you want to draft a safety there, that's probably a guy I would take. Let's see, a guy like Bud Clark, 6'2", 190. They don't have any analysis, but looking at his stats, he even cut down his tackles from I mean, he has less missed tackles, right, from 24 to 25. Played a lot more in the slot. So you got options. So if we want to take a safety right here, I think this is the spot. Sorry, Genesis Smith. Looking at him, 6'2", 240 or 204. Excuse me. Looking at his stats, a lot of missed tackles. Missed tackles increased, so he's got to clean that shit up. Not great in run defense. So I mean, like I said, I really don't look at it, but I mean, if you're looking at these missed tackles, like that makes a lot of sense that his run defensive grade isn't great. Yeah, so let's go ahead and I'll take a guy like Ezekiel Elite. We got. I think that is the choice at this spot. We address safety. We move further along. Let's take a look at the running backs. I like a guy like Katron Allen. I think he's I think he'd be really solid for us. I go ahead and take a look at some of his runs. A little bit like a man. I would say Judkins a little bit. I got to go back and rewatch Judkins' college tape, but he kind of runs angry like that. So looking at Emmett Johnson, 5'11", 200. Minnesota's where he's trending. Let's look at his stats. 5.8 yards a carry, 1,450 yards, 12 games, 12 touchdowns. Not much receiving yards. Maybe that what keeps him off this Bears roster. I know you want to pass with or use the running backs out of the backfield, but looking at Singleton stats, I mean not he had 1,000 yards last year, played in 3 less games, only had 547. He's a big back, 6'4", 224. Big back. That'll be exactly where he goes to the Cowboys or something like that. I could see that. I feel like that's. I feel like the Cowboys might be targeting bigger backs anyway. Yeah, the Katron Allen, 5'11". Check out his stats. He had 1,000 yards last year. He had 1,000 yards this year, or 1,300 yards this year, 1,100 yards last year. 15 touchdowns this year. Not many receptions, but I like how the way he freaking runs, man. Like it's he's a guy that can definitely complement a Manung guy and a Swift. I just can we increase those targets and trust them to catch the ball out of the backfield? And then after that, like I feel like it's you'll probably find another running back around these guys right here, right? A Faison, a Stewart, a a Trainum, or I got a Trayanum. I got to figure out how to say that name. Noah Winnington, it's around there. Like that's where you'll take a shot if you want to draft that running back later. See wide receiver. I'm not really big on wide receiver drafting a wide receiver anyway myself, but I could see them doing it. Like I said, I could see them doing it, but you could probably find a wide receiver, like a wide receiver and a running back in those last two picks. Right? Let's check out cornerback. Jalen Kilgore, Charles Demings, and I'm not going to pretend to know these guys because I haven't cut any of the cornerbacks. But I do feel like this would be a target in this spot. Yeah, that's what I would say. It's you just find the best pass blocker initially. So let's see. We can go. Let's look at the traits. 6'1", 211. Definitely looking for a bigger, lengthier corner. 6'1", 190. Just looking at his stats. Oh my bad. We didn't even check out the Jalen Kilgore stats. Played 2 less games this year. 13 in 2024, 11 in 25. Gave up 390 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's had 2 picks. Passer rating 68.1 when targeted. He had a higher pass rating last year, but I mean, he was able to knock it down, right? Can make tackles. Seeing his run defense grade, looking at where I was hoping they showed tackles missed on the cornerbacks like they did the safeties, but they don't. Let's see. That sucks. I wish they did. Trending a lot to the Bears, like I said, that's just PFF. I don't know where. Ephesians Prysock, 6'4", 195. I like that. I mean, I like 6'4". Let's check out the stats. Real high passer rating. Not really a ball hawk. I guess really, pretty good on run defense. Solid in coverage. As far as their grades are concerned, like I said, you got to watch the tape in order to really see what's going on. Looks like he's got a good mix. I mean, he's definitely a outside corner. I mean, he hasn't played a lot in the slot at all. But that passer rating just concerns me. And if I can't see the fucking tackles, man, I got to trust the run grade, I guess, but I do like 6'4", 195. I mean, maybe he even adds, some lean muscle to him. So I'm thinking, is it in the middle of the screen? Damn, am I blind? Oh, there we go. I am. 9 missed tackles. So wonder what he had in 24. Well, okay, 9 missed tackles. I mean, that's Not bad. You keep it under 10. It's not double digits. You are going to get got sometimes. Thank you, Johns, for that. Again, 6'1", 6'4". I mean, it's if the Bears are targeting him, I mean, if they're looking at a guy like, like him playing, Alex says he's playing multiple positions, I'll trust it. So let's go ahead and trust Alex, and we'll go ahead and take a corner. Like I said, that's where I see them taking a corner anyway. And you know what I mean? It's not like, again, I'm gonna be truthful with you. I haven't cut any of the corners, so like I can't really give you a solid assessment. But if they're targeting him, and me knowing that we need a corner at that spot, like yeah, again, they could definitely go, like I said, running back. I could go wide receiver. Hell, they could even go center. And at this point, that's kind of where I would like. If you can find if you find a center that you like, or you could add to. I don't know. Where's Owen's kid? Is he not on this shit? He's gonna go undrafted. Bring him in. Damn, it's no. I mean, I guess not. I guess he's not on this list. Maybe add another alignment. Like I said, center. This is what we picked total in this draft. Caden Proctor, Derek Moore, Dominique Orange, Zeke Wheatley, Jalen Kilgore. So definitely defensive focused, right? But we addressed a fucking true need at left tackle. Maybe he doesn't start there right away. Maybe they go with Braxton first, which I'm sure if Braxton's healthy, they're going to go with Braxton first. But if he's able to beat him out, I'm fine with that too. So I'll take a flyer on Crooch in the draft or during the undrafted signings. Yeah, well, that's why I said I was looking for him in the back end. I don't know if he's, not on there, not listed or what, but take a peek. I'd even take a look at tackle right here again. You never know. Like I feel like some guys are going to have a rude awakening if they don't perform this season. I think we're getting to the point where Ben Johnson is in pretty much total control of what he wants in a player and how he wants that player to perform. So I feel like this is a make or break season for some of these guys. Things might have to change if you don't get if he doesn't get out of you what he wants, right? That's where I'm at with this. Like I feel like Ben, he's still, you hear him talking in interviews, he's still got it's not even turned off. Like he hasn't even flipped the switch. Like I feel like and I'm not saying that he hasn't, moved past the season. I'm saying he hasn't turned off that edge whatsoever. Like he has not turned off that edge, at all. You could see it. I could see it at least. I mean, that's how I feel. So I don't think I really don't think anybody is safe at this point. Besides like a Caleb Williams and a few other guys, like I feel like everybody needs to take their game up a notch in order to keep Ben from jumping down your fucking throat. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Say Roman Hamby, looking at running backs again, 6'1". Is not very fast. Looking for faster backs, right? They said that, a Noah Winnington, they said the Bears are targeting. He's 5'8". 5'8". I mean, yeah, I guess it is what it is, 5'8", but speedster. And they're fucking mocking him to the Packers too. So it's like you almost have to fucking take him at this point. um, yeah, I don't have a problem with any running back right here. Like if it's Winnington, if it's uh, this guy Chip Trade, I can't even fucking say it. Like it's gonna bother me. You know what I mean? Uh, so yeah, again, like it is kind of what it is at that point. Let's go ahead and take a Winnington. I got no problem with it. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need a guy like him anyway. So we'll draft the Noah Winnington right there, running back. And I don't know, something bothers me about drafting a wide receiver here, but again, maybe that's where you go. Maybe you take a flyer on a guy. Vinny Tony the second. See, again, that's not like I wouldn't, but I feel like you could find guys later that can help. Let's check out who's there at edge. Edge, interior. At this point, I'm just taking flyers on guys. So 6'6", 310. James Thompson Jr. It's a big fucking dude. Couple sacks. Looks like he was hurt last season. Excuse me. So I would take a flyer on a guy like this. 23. He played 13 games, productive, 4 sacks. $12 hurries, 11 hurries. Looks like he could play in a various amount of spots, right? See what you look like. 6'6", 320. Well, he's trending to the Packers, so a lot to the Packers late. A blocking tight end, huh? Let me just take that out. Well, if you know a blocking tight end down here, Johns, I'm all fucking ears. I might even take this Delaware guy because I like that fucking logo. Yeah, definitely not. 6'5", 245. Yeah, sir. Sorry, man. I'm like, I can't even, you don't even have stats on here, bro. Yeah, 1 year. Like, how can I don't know. I got to go find Delaware tape. Let's see. Illinois guy, 6'4", 265. Hey, I mean, there you go. Big boy. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead. Fuck it. Tanner Arkin is the pick, the last pick of the draft. And oh, there we go. So this is our draft so far. We got Kaden Proctor, Derek Moore, Dominique Orange, Zeke Wheatley, Jalen Kilgore, Noah Winnington, and Tanner Arkin. They gave us a B minus, but we'll go ahead and save this. I'll actually bring it up on Wednesdays. Keep it at 100. See what Phil and Shane think about it. So we'll keep these drafts, and I'll pop it up and see if they give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But let's go ahead and move on. Let's get through this one. We're gonna trade in this one at some point, and this will be our last. This will be our last draft unless I have to restart it. So, all right, here we are. So we got 4 trade offers, right? We got a CJ Allen available, Omar Cooper Jr., Blake Miller, Cassius Howell, TJ Parker, Max. I have whatever. Yeah, I had now. Yeah, I can't even say it. Denzel Boston, Caleb Banks, Peter Woods, Colton Hood, Casey Concepcion, Emmanuel Pregnan, yeah, Lee Hunter, Kristen Miller, Zion Young, which I'm gonna stay away from. R. Mason Thomas, and who's going? Caden Proctor went to the Eagles, so fuck us. I, um, yeah, that's shitty. But again, you're gonna have to take a tackle here. You know, it's gonna have to be, 6'6", 315. He's given up 2 sacks, 1 sack last year, 2 sacks this year, couple hits. Got a good pass blocking grade. Right tackle, but if they feel like he can fucking play left, they'll do it. That's where, you know, that's kind of what they've done with some of these guys. If they feel like he could do it, they'll move him over. No sacks last year. Played pretty much every snap at right tackle. So, with that being said, I'll be looking right here. I'd be looking at a Jenny's Dunker, a Caleb Tiernan. I'd be looking at 64. So let's go ahead and take a peek at these trades because that's what we're going to do. You got 27 to the Niners. You have 31 to the Pats. Let's see what the Niners have in the back end. Probably won't get that 58, like realistically. Probably shooting for over here at 127. So it'd be that and that, or one of these because these are could be one of the 138, 130, 133, 138, 139. Not liking it. Let's see what the Patriots have. 95. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. Let's work with this. Let's do this. Right. 25, 31, and 131. Nope. Well, I think 63, we might be good there. It doesn't look like we're going to get any further than that. Yeah. So 31 and 63 for 25. They don't want to do that. They will do this. Let's see if. I think that's fair. Right? What is it? 5 spots, 6 spots? All right. TJ Parker. You got our boy Max. Caleb Banks. Lee Hunter. You got Jacob Rodriguez, R. Mason Thomas, Gabe Jackus. All right. Well, I guess, I would, at this point, I'd go with Parker. You need an edge, right? Is he my favorite? No, but is there potential? Absolutely. So, yeah, I'll go with TJ Parker right here. You address the edge, and we added more picks, so we're going to address that left tackle. Now, this is tricky because now I'm looking at. I mean, we got a guy like a Jennings Dunker, right? And we have another pick. So I would say, for me, I would probably take Halsey right here, right? I would probably take him right here if that's the case. A lot of missed tackles. Coverage is good. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? No? James says no. Who's available at safety and defensive? I mean, so you still have guys that you could pick in at 95, 125. We still need to address interior defensive line. Clear that. I mean, we still need to address, interior defensive line and offensive tackle. So these two spots are going to be, it's going to be either you draft another edge or you go inside with one of these picks, right? It's just how I see it. So if you want, to go ahead and take a safety, a higher ranking safety, go. I mean, they have that choice. I do like a Jennings Dunker. Like I said, maybe they can move him around. Maybe he's able to make an adjustment. But seeing Tiernan, I actually really like him at left tackle too. Damn, Josh Josephs. Fuck. I really like Josh Josephs. He's a guy I could see being on this team. I really can. But like I said, it's going to be a little bit difficult passing up a tackle. So Knowing that I need him, I'm going to go ahead and jump the edge and or the interior line. I'm going to take the left tackle right there. Bang, bang. Now, let's go back. And this time I'll make, like I said, I do like Orange. Dominique Orange, we drafted him last time. But like I said, we need a defensive interior defensive lineman. After this point, like I said, it's not really great. I mean, maybe they see something different. In the B gap, what was he, 6'5", 337, big dude. Like big citrus right here, 6'4", 325, another big dude. And it's just I want to draft Halton because like I said, I like what he could do. But they like speed as well, right? They're valuing a lot of speed. Not saying that Dominique Orange doesn't have, for his size, some speed, but seeing seeing as one's 6'2", 229, and the other's what 6'5", 3 whatever. I'm sure Halton has him on the speed. I'm sure of that. But let's go ahead and pull this trigger. I'm gonna draft Halton right here because, like I said, I believe they want interior, or they are going to go after an interior lineman at this point, defensive lineman at this point, because I don't think it gets any better. So we'll draft Halton right there. So far it's Parker, Tiernan, Halton. Still focused on the defense, right? Still focused on not straying away from that theme. We still need a safety. We added a couple picks with this trade. So let's go ahead, check out linebacker, cornerback, safety. Again, if it's me, I would if we really wanted, I would probably take the Zeke Wheatley again. But let's go ahead and make a couple adjustments. Let's say like Bud, let's say like Bud Clark, you know what I'm saying? So we could probably, be a little more less strict or less focus on one player, drafting one player. Maybe it's Genesis Smith, maybe it's somebody else. So like I'll try not to draft the exact same players over and over and over again. It's got to be, to me, that's it's not realistic. Like it's boring. It's more hopeful than anything. So again, do you feel comfortable drafting a safety later, or do you feel like that's a point of need right at this moment? So we're looking at 4 missed tackles, about a 70 passer rating. That's pretty good. Trending to the Packers, 6'3", 195, Devin Moore. I'm actually going to check if we even have the cornerbacks loaded up right now. 6'1", 190. Giving up a lot. 3 touchdowns each year. Giving up 500 yards in 2024. Giving up 440 in 25. 5 missed tackles. So good in run defense, but doesn't look great in coverage. So it's a no for me. I kind of want, like I said, I want more of a solid mix. So why don't we go with Devin Moore here? Why don't we go with the cornerback? I mean, Malik Muhammad, 6 foot, 188, 5 missed tackles, solid passer rating here, giving up 168 yards. So I'll go with, let's see. Let's keep looking. 190. No, 500 yards. Let's stay away from Will Lee. 6'4", 200. Decario Davis. 1 missed tackle. Only played in 7 games. Give up a lot of yards last year. Here, let's clear this and check out the linebackers because it's getting confusing looking at that. All right. Does anybody feel like a linebacker can, at least at this spot, be the pick? Or do we feel like we go towards a corner and a safety? Because for me, I think it's if they do go after a linebacker, maybe it's later. I don't think it'll be right here, right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger on Devin Moore. Actually, I mean, like I said, 6'3", 198. Pretty solid. I mean, when targeted, not a lot. Hasn't given up a lot. So I think that's where we'll go. We'll go a cornerback here. And let's see, we got a couple trades. To the Raiders. 102. And 117. 102. And 134. Let's see who's available first. So we'll be around, like I said, that safety, that area where I think safety would be the target, and we could add more players on top of that. So that's what I'll do. We'll trade with the Raiders. We'll move down, see if we can add. All right, and here we are. So weekly went to the Seahawks. So that kind of puts us in a position where we take a guy like a Bud Clark, and we will do that. Got the safety. So far, T.J. Parker, Caleb Tiernan, Grayson Halton, Devin Moore, and Bud Clark are the picks. I feel like that's about it for the trade. So I'm not going to trade anymore in this draft, and we're going to go straight up and start picking guys. If we want to add a receiver, if we want to add a running back. And we could even go after a center, at this point. (6'5", 311. Gave up no sacks. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go after a center. (6'4", 312. All right. Well, I guess they don't have the trends going. Gave up 2 sacks, 1 hit, 1 sack last year. Comparables, got some good grades. Played a lot of guard in 24 and then moved into center in 25. So he got versatility. Played guard. He's so more experience at center for Coogan. No, if all right, we'll stick with one of these two. We'll go with the National Champion Center. And now we've added depth and a potential building block for the future because we only got our center under contract for 1 year. And we're going to need guys waiting in the wings, learning. So at this point, let's see, running back. Let's see, edge. I'm going to go with Rieger here. I just like the guys. I mean, 6'5", 248. It could work with that. I mean, it can get that going. I mean, if he could get somebody like that going with that size. Let's see, 6 sacks, missed 24. 6 sacks, 7 hits, 32 hurries. Yeah, I'm going to pick up a guy like Rieger right here. And with that being said, this is where I take a running back. 5'11", 200 pounds. Like I said, a lot of receiving yards. A lot of yards on the ground. Mike Hall likes him. So there we go. We'll take Emmett Johnson, even though I like Allen a lot. So here are the picks so far: Parker, Tiernan, Holton, Moore, Bud Clark, Coogan, Rieger, Emmett Johnson. We have 2 more picks. I guess you can take a wide receiver, right? I guess wide receiver, and to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't hate them taking a, well, possibly undrafted. They'll probably be more like undrafted. They'll pick up a quarterback to bring in. I wouldn't mind that at all. Look for somebody with some speed. Oh, former track sprinter. 5'9" is. Let's check out the stats. Not a lot there. Not a lot there, so I don't. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Let's see. Is it Vinny Anthony? Vinny Tony? 5'9". Traber Pena. 0 foot. Like, look at that height. Where the hell? How tall is he? Now I got to look it up. Or 5'10". So it's not much of a difference. not much of a difference in height, but huge difference in production. So, with that being said, yeah, I would just take a flyer on a receiver right here. We'll draft a Pena. Let's see, for our last pick in the draft. Let's go. Well, let's check out linebacker. Let's see. 6'3", 225. $19 missed tackles, 15 missed tackles. Don't like that. Lander Burton, 6'5", 240. All right. 12 missed tackles, 16 missed tackles in back-to-back seasons. Was better in 2023 and 2024, I guess, according to PFF. Going to draft Scooby Williams off the name alone? No. 6'2", 230. Got a good pass rush grade. Well, yeah, I am going to take Scooby Williams because fuck the Packers. How about that? That's what I'm going to do. We add a linebacker at the end of the draft. I think we hit everything. I mean, love it or hate it, I think we hit everything. You had an edge rusher, a tackle, an interior defensive lineman, a cornerback, a safety, a center, another edge, a halfback, a wide receiver, and a fucking linebacker. And I mean, that's kind of what I want the Bears to do, right? Like I want them to efficiently hit and target players, and not necessarily this particular group. I really don't care if this is exactly what it is or not. I'm just saying, like, this is how they should be focused, right? If they don't trade down and Proctor's there, you're taking Proctor, left tackle. If not, if he's not there, I feel like you could trade down, get an edge, address defensive line, and then find a guy like a Tiernan in that, that middle, that second round, So for me, and then if you trade down, like I said, you add another pick. So that's how you're able to go ahead right after Holton and draft a cornerback and still draft a safety right after that with the trade to the Raiders. So it's like I feel like trading down might be the theme, but they're going to have to pull the trigger faster than they did last season, because last season you knew they wanted to. You knew they wanted to trade down to add a running back, but they were too late, or they got. It is what it is at this point, but I don't want that to happen this season. So if you have those opportunities to where it benefits you, where it's whether it's a win-win or what have you, and you could add to the draft capital, do it, because we need players. You know what I'm saying? We need football players. We need football players to help right now, because this team is on. The window's open. You just got to make sure you don't allow it to close before you get through. So adding more players, adding more depth, adding guys that could help right now. That's a lot of guys. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 players you add. You hit every position of need, right? You even hit one twice. So, again, that's kind of where I want the Chicago Bears to end up in their draft, where they address every position of need, every position gets hit. That's my dream. But let me know what you guys think, man. I appreciate you guys joining me on Easter. I wanted to get it done yesterday, but I forgot the basketball games and everything like that. I was just like, nah, this isn't. I don't want to take anybody away from the show. So I appreciate you guys. That's going to be it for me today. I will be back with a third mock draft soon. I just don't know when. And we'll, keep having discussions, keep thinking and trying to figure out what the Chicago Bears can do to help this team get to that next level. I'm very excited about it. But make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Become a patron today at www.thetapeneverlies.com. We got Draft Mob underway, obviously. I just sent Phil some more tape yesterday. Going to be sending him some more here in a few. So it's on, dude. It's on. Let's go ahead and, let's figure this thing out, because I don't want to see this team take a step back because we missed out on guys that could help us. Like we've seen that story before in the draft in particular, and this is the most important draft. Like it's crazy. Like last year's the most important draft. This year's the most important draft. Ryan Poles, I hope you take another step. I hope you take another step. I hope you correct your wrongs and find the guys that, this coaching staff can mold into a champion. That's what I'm wanting. That's what I'm hoping happens here this year. But all right, guys, that's going to be a wrap for me. I appreciate you. I'll see you guys on tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Bear Down with Big Steve is on tomorrow night, 8:30 Central. So I'll be on that. I'll be checking it out. I'll be checking it out. I'll be producing it with him. So I'll be on there. I'll check you guys out later. Peace.